Today, we will be talking about times where we messed up big time at Nintendo.
We done goofed over and over again.
Everybody makes mistakes. Nobody's nerf it, as they say.
It's good to be honest about, the good and the bad. We're going to be delving into the bad today. The thing that's exciting for me, though, is I don't know what story you're going to tell. You don't know what story I'm going to tell.
Right.
So maybe I'm going to learn some new thing about you that I can just lord over you for the rest of your life.
You probably will. I don't think that you really understand my inner workings, my inner thoughts and feelings when this is happening. Because I was trying to be a tough girl when this was going down. But I'm ready to expose it all. Are you ready to lay yourself on the line here?
I am, and this is a story that I don't know if you know in full detail. I certainly wasn't like broadcasting it out to people. It happened pretty early on when I was still like figuring things out and learning. So it was something that I eventually moved beyond, but it was quite embarrassing and something I definitely could have been fired for in the moment.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
We have a lot of options here, so there's many times.
We were terrible employees.
No, we were generally 95% good, 5% not great. You've been there for so long. We worked there.
It's bound to happen.
I worked there for almost 14 years.
Yeah.
You got to make a mistake every.
Those are the numbers.
4-ish years or so. As always, everything that we do here is made possible by our wonderful, beautiful Patreon subscribers. Thank you so much for continuing to support us. Please join us today on patreon.com/Kit and Krysta to continue hearing some of our inside Nintendo stories because we still have so much to share with you guys.
We are gearing up for one of our very special monthly perks for our 1UP Club and Superstars subscribers, which is our monthly meetup.
My favorite time of the month,
where we get together and hang out and play a game and just catch up with everybody. We have not yet decided what the big game is going to be this month, but it's always a great time. People come out and just hang out, and we hear what everybody's been up to, and play a game. Last month, it was everybody 1-2 switch. That kept it interesting.
That was a real doozy of a 1UP Club meetup.
Yeah.
I think that the horribleness of that game made it really fun when you have a big group of people that you just like spending time with, though.
I agree.
So maybe that is the saving thing for everybody 1-2 switch. Maybe, I'm not sure, but it was really fun regardless. And we enjoy hanging out with our wonderful subscribers, not only once a month in our 1UP Club and Superstar meetups, but also all the time on our member exclusive Discord. They get tons of bonus Q&A. We answered a real juicy question last week in the bonus Q&A, something that I never thought I would be sharing with someone.
You told someone that you did not like them that way.
No. Oh.
That was the question.
Yeah, it was about rejection and all this stuff. And I just didn't ever anticipate that would be opening up to our community in that way. Now they know everything. And the conversation that preceded, that happened after the bonus Q&A went out was incredible. I love all you guys. You guys are so great. And reading all of your stories just touched my heart. I loved it. Good stuff happening.
You are back from something you did this weekend that I forgot was even happening in the area, which is an event called California Extreme.
Yeah.
Tell the good people what that is.
Yeah, California Extreme is a pinball and arcade machine event that happens right here in the Bay Area. I went to this last year as well, so this is my second year attending California Extreme. It's a really interesting and fun event. I would not consider myself any kind of expert or even a super enthusiast in arcade machines or pinball machines, but obviously, we grew up in the era of Nickel City and going to the arcade and playing arcade games. We've done many videos of us visiting arcades to recapture that nostalgia, and this sort of is an event that is built on that. I think they say that they have the largest collection of pinball machines and arcades displayed, in the country or something that at this event. And it's really cool because all the arcade machines belong to actual people. So you see the little label that says their names, so-and-so owns this machine. They've donated it to this event to, display it there. But it's people's private collections.
I have
pretty
shamefully
interesting.
never been to this event, and I wanted to ask you, like, what would you say is the main purpose? Like, are people there to like strike a deal? Like, I'm going to buy this off of somebody? Are there things for
No.
sale, or is it just like let's experience the incredible awesomeness
Yeah.
of these machines?
It's absolutely mostly about the experience and not so much about like buying things. And so you pay a sort of a flat fee to get in, and you can play all of the arcade games for free. Like they basically unlock all of them for you. So you can sample a whole bunch of arcade games, maybe cabinets that you've never tried before because you don't want to spend your quarters back in the day. So they have a lot of like really they have a lot of very popular ones, obviously, but also like some deep cuts. And they have some really old arcades
That you could
too,
play?
That you could play. Some of them worked very marginally.
I would be a little bit worried if I was the owner of these very
know.
old machines, just letting anybody come up and slap away
but
at
some
them.
of them are just like real, like super deep cuts, like machines from like the like the 60s, maybe the 70s. Pinball from the 40s. Pinball.
40s?
Yeah, I saw one that was in 1942.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and it wasn't even called pinball. It was called like something else.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Like
Oh,
some
wow.
of the very like almost like a museum, of machines.
Yeah.
There are some other like retro things that you can do. So they have something similar to PAX where they have like all of this the CRT TV set up and old consoles,
Okay.
and so you can
Yeah.
go and rent a game. You know what I really loved though? When I was over there, I was walking through the little like the retro gaming room. I saw like little kids playing games that we played as little kids, like having the best time. So you know that these games have held up.
Right.
Like this little girl was like playing Mega Man, and I can see her just light up as she's like playing this game, and I'm like, dang, this is when you know this game is so good
Right.
that it just like holds, no matter what, like in this age of TikTok and short attention spans, like this game still holds up. So that was fun to see. And they have some stuff for sale. There is like retro games and stuff like that for sale. I saw our great good friend Chris Kohler running a booth there, and he had a lot of really cool retro games for sale.
So there's no like companies that because that would be perfect for his company, Digital Eclipse.
I know.
Who has a game coming out.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of that. It was very like grassroots.
Okay. Yeah, the arcade community is definitely a different breed. I have known a lot of people over the years who are into this and who collect machines.
Right.
And it's a lot of like, hey, I need to take out another storage locker because I've got too many, or I need a guy who's got, a giant truck so I can lug this thing around, or I'm meeting a guy in the back of the Taco Bell for a CRT monitor.
How do you move it?
I don't want to be a part of this community, but I'm fascinated by it.
It is, and that is the people that are there.
They're always like, why am I doing this? But they obviously love it so much that they do.
Yes, exactly. And you can tell that there's like love and care put into maintaining these machines from these private collectors, and also trust that they can, lend it out for all these people to touch.
My gosh.
But yeah, it's a really fun event. I had considered like maybe we can do a video there, but it's so hard to film at that event. It would have been
What do you mean by
impossible.
that? You said that to me this week, and I don't know exactly what you mean.
It's like the worst lighting possible. It's super
lighting.
It's super noisy, super crowded. It just would be. I think it'd be really tough to do.
Well, you didn't even tell me you were going, so
I did tell
fat
you.
chance of that ever happening.
I told you.
After it happened. Hey, I went. It was great.
You
I
were
already
not
left.
interested.
Don't come meet me.
You're not interested at all. You're busy.
I didn't know.
You're busy.
I literally didn't know this was happening.
I asked you weeks ago and you were uninterested.
We have some great videos up on our channel. We had to post an emergency video as soon as the news about Charles Martinet broke. So if you're wondering where the news about that is in this podcast, check that video because we already did it.
We did it. We did a special Charles video. So please watch it.
Yes, the takeaway from that is read between the lines.
Right.
We have another great video that is out now, which our Patreon subscribers got early access to, but it's out now on our channel, digging into the wacky, strange, frightening world of eShop shovelware.
Oh, man.
Wow.
Did we uncover some real turds there? Yeah, that was interesting. It was an interesting exercise, understanding what is happening to the poor eShop. As many gems that there are, it's like exponentially the amount of not great games that are up there. So yeah, we kind of look into that. There were some surprises along the way, I will say.
One was good.
One was a pleasant surprise.
Maybe not actually shovelware.
Well,
in hindsight, it certainly had some shovelware tendencies, but yeah. I mean, when we were at Nintendo, we knew that they were becoming more lenient about the games that you could upload.
Right.
We never knew the exact specifications of the policy. We never saw that. But it does make you wonder, like, what is the line for this is okay, but something else maybe isn't?
And how do you consistently sort of monitor that, I think, is the problem. It's just like a fire hose of stuff coming at you.
Right.
You know, and there's so many things that just seem... I think the things that bother me are the super, like, shady ones.
Right.
That just... You know, if you're not savvy in the eShop, like, I feel bad for, like, the young child who's spending their allowance pennies on, like, a game on their Switch and don't know better and think that something is something else.
Yeah.
Like, that sucks. That's a bad experience for him or her, you know? That's not great, so...
I also wonder, we saw this a lot, there are some companies who's like, this is their thing, is making these sorts of games, and they seem to be getting by. There's a lot of little tricks that you can do along the way about putting things on sale, deep discount, like 90% off, like speaks to a lot of people. Like, oh my gosh, this is 99 cents and it's 90% off. I need to buy it.
You're basically just like taking advantage of like core human tendencies.
Human nature.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is cheap, you know?
So,
we'll see.
Fascinating video. Good for some laughs, too.
Good for some laughs.
So, check it out.
We definitely were surprised and dismayed.
Yes. We have also kicked off our full playthrough stream of Super Mario RPG. We're off to a great start.
Very exciting.
We have part 2 coming soon, probably a matter of days from when this podcast is posted. And some people are wondering, yes, we are going to play the whole game.
We are playing the whole game.
Beginning to end.
I finally met the famous Mallow. I finally learned to spell his famous name.
Frog. Mallow.
Frog.
You don't know what it means.
I don't know what it means. I'm very confused by this. The weather seems to be changing as Mallow is going through some sort of emotion. I'm perplexed a lot. So we'll see.
I did put that game in the games we're playing, so we'll talk about it more there.
Okay,
but
I'm perplexed though.
Just quick note at the top that's happening. And then finally, another video that is out. So Gamescom is underway now.
Yes, it's happening.
Again, there was so much buildup of people asking, like, is the Switch 2 going to be revealed at Gamescom? Well, we put our thoughts on that in a separate video. That is up. If it's revealed, we're going to dye our hair pink. We're recording this before, so we haven't seen it happen yet.
Yeah.
If you see us with pink hair in a couple of days,
then you'll know we're wrong. You'll know that we have been... We done goofed, as in the theme of this podcast.
Again and again. I don't learn.
Again.
That's the thing. I don't learn.
You don't learn.
I don't learn my lesson.
You don't learn your lesson at all. Terrible. Terrible.
We're moments away from hearing these horrific, fascinating stories. But first, we got to shout out our sponsor, Factor. This episode is sponsored by Factor.
Thank you, Factor.
With the busy fall season just around the corner, you might be looking for wholesome, convenient meals for jam-packed days. Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit, can help you fuel up fast with chef-prepared, dietitian-approved, ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. You'll save time, eat well, and stay on track.
This is where you can never goof, honestly, is with a Factor meal. Because if you are super busy and you don't have time and you have specific, eating goals or nutrition goals, this is the service that can help you and really help you, like, make it easy for you.
We saw somebody, we were in San Francisco, we saw somebody walking, carrying a Factor meal. Is that this person has a busy life, but they want to stay on top of their eating.
It was very interesting because we were at a restaurant. And this person was clearly like a waiter and was probably going on a very quick break, a dinner break before he has to get back to work, and had a Factor meal ready to go. Was going to like heat it up and eat it. 2 minutes in the microwave and you can eat his Factor meal.
Was amazing to see.
I was like, hey, look. Yeah. But that's like my life, I do that. Because we're really busy.
You lose track of time.
Yeah.
You get the time back having a quick meal. So
exactly.
2 minutes in the microwave. They are never frozen. And there are more than 34 different meals available every week, so you never get in the dreaded food rut.
The food rut. No one wants that.
No.
And the meals are really delicious and perfected by actual chefs.
That's right.
It's awesome.
So head to factormeals.com/KitandKrysta50 and use code KitandKrysta50 to get 50% off. That's code KitandKrysta50 at factormeals.com/KitandKrysta50 to get 50% off.
All right, we'll put the code link here and the code here and in the description below.
All right. I'm going to say you should go first.
Me?
Because I did the big story about vomiting last week. So I think people have had a whole too much of me.
Oh,
and I think they're ready for some you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Me and my worst, not me and my best, though.
It's fine. I mean, I'm going right after, so.
Okay. Well, I won't tell the sort of like the beginning part of the story because that's going to be saved for another story time.
Oh.
But this is related to when I was doing a really big, high-profile project with a editor from Bloomberg.
Oh.
And bringing this person to Japan to interview the then president.
Yes.
Of Nintendo.
Right.
So it was pretty like...
Mr. Kimishima.
Mr. Kimishima,
yes.
No longer the president, but he was at the time.
Prior to Mr. Furukawa.
Yes. That's right. So I'll tell there's many parts of that story, and that was a really cool thing that I got to do. And it all started out great, but it didn't end so well. Oh. And so just, again, for a light setup, it's like, this was probably the highest profile media thing that I have had done in my career at Nintendo. So, it was a lot of scrutiny was on this project. Reggie, all the way up to actually, obviously Mr. Kimishima was also involved.
So there were others. It wasn't Mr. Koizumi interviewed,
yes.
Mr. Takahashi, I think, was
all
interviewed.
The development.
So obviously they are curious of well, how's this going to turn out?
Yes, exactly. So a lot of very high profile Nintendo executives were interviewed. There was a lot of prep work that led up to this. Anytime you want to, anytime you're asking for important people's time, it's a really big deal. And they want to make sure that the thing that comes out of it is worth it. Mm-hmm. So the mess up happened when the thing came out. So the whole other part of it was fine. We were in Japan, everything was great. The reporter was awesome. I really enjoyed being part of that experience and coordinating everything and doing all that stuff. I learned a lot. So the interview comes out. Print coverage, which again at that time is very rare, but still very it's prestigious to get print a cover story.
It was the cover of the magazine.
It was a cover story
Bloomberg Business Week.
In Bloomberg,
right.
Yeah. So this was a huge deal, huge feature, multi-page feature, beautiful cover artwork. Done by a Bloomberg journalist.
One of their
illustrators.
Yes.
Someone on the Bloomberg side. Did not get sent to us to review or approve, unfortunately. And I'll have photos here, but very stylized, images of Nintendo characters. We did a photo shoot, so there was beautiful, professional photos of the developers and of Mr. Kimishima, but scattered throughout the entire feature was all of these illustrations of Nintendo IP.
And that magazine does have its own style.
It does.
Which is, I think that's what they were trying to have a continuation of. For this story as well.
Yeah, they have their own brand DNA that they were wanting to put into the Nintendo characters.
Right.
But Nintendo doesn't like that. They are very, very particular, and we've talked about this a lot with, how their characters and the Nintendo IP is represented. Everything needs to go through a very tight approval chain. I honestly did not know that they were making illustrations at all. So I didn't know until the magazine was printed.
Yeah.
So by that time it was too late. So we were basically in the sort of the discussion, why did this happen cycle?
Right.
Of the thing.
Because they saw it when it came out.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, we basically sent a report to them saying here it is. Here are all the, high points. This is the metrics around all the great coverage. It was a good piece. And their fixation was on this artwork and how it was unapproved and they hated it pretty much. They really hated it. And at the time I was really like shocked by this because we had just come off this like really insane, months of planning, 2 weeks in Japan of getting this all done. So much, like I was sitting in like the editing, like the fact checking part of this for like days on end. Like this reporter was just sending me like emails for like 24 hours a day. Like, is this right? Is this right? Is this right? It was like really intense. And so it was like a big relief when the story came out. And honestly, when it came out, I was like, this is a great story. Like, I feel really proud of this.
The article came out really well and hit a lot of the points that we wanted to hit.
Yeah. So it like sort of like shocked me and also like made me kind of mad, honestly, that the thing that became what the people in Japan were like super fixated on and frankly upset about was this artwork stuff. And so there was like all these emails back and forth, and into the night we were sending emails back and forth trying to explain the situation. And I wrote an email that I thought was a pretty good explanation. And I'm trying to recall exactly like what my points were, but I think it was similar to what you're saying. It's like, first of all, they never shared this artwork with us to approve anyway.
And they don't have to.
And they don't have to. It's editorial.
Right,
because this is not like we're paying Bloomberg to write this article.
There's no like, the person doing this article gets to approve the cover art, or, I mean, it's like a nice courtesy if they do fold you into that. But especially for like a hard kind of like news business kind of thing like that, it's like they don't have to do that.
They don't have to do any of that stuff.
And the other thing I would say is like, this is one of those things where the end consumer who is reading this article picks up this magazine, like they don't have any impression of the artwork at all. It's like, oh, it's Mario, or it's these Nintendo characters.
Right,
like,
these are
cool.
like business people that are
right, like so it actually had no impact at all on the end consumer's consumption of this piece, where it's the words that matter, the actual content.
Yeah.
So it is one of those things where you can get so wrapped up in these internal policies and politics and all of that.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Where it's like, what actually is the impact of this?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. So
But when those people are get involved, like there's kind of no way out of that vortex.
You are trapped. You are trapped in like this, and you feel really attacked.
Right,
really, like I started to feel really defensive, and so I wrote this email, and I sort of made points like defending why this is a good thing, and we should focus on the positive aspects of it. Similar to kind of like the things that you said were like my proof points for why. I thought it was pretty polite. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know. I will own up to the fact that I was like not feeling great by being just attacked by these people and their negativity around this article. So anyways, write this email. I send the email, and then your boss, so you were my boss, and then your boss, so my boss's boss, wrote me an email, was like, you shouldn't have sent that email. She was like, I think that they think that you're being flippant, was the exact word that she used. And I was like, oh my God. And basically it was like, you may have made it worse by trying to defend yourself. You should just have apologized. Just don't even try to talk them out of the thing that they're just so dug into now.
Right.
Like just apologize, own it, and then maybe we can move on. So then I sent another email apologizing.
Had they even responded to the first one?
I think they did.
Yeah.
I think they did. I mean, this was like in the middle of the night. I think this was like midnight at this time. Because they're in Japan. I was back in the States. And it was just like the whole day was this. I was exhausted. And and it was like, it was bad. Like I felt bad about it. And then I was like mad. I'm still kind of mad.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that like sat with me for a long time. Like, do I really want to work for a place that does this kind of stuff? I don't know. So
kind of misses the big picture.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And just, you feel like you're just like, sort of like out on the ledge by yourself,
Right.
In those kinds of situations where it's like,
it's hard to get people to have your back when that kind of piling on happens.
And it's not her fault, It's like, like she just wanted to like diffuse the situation at that point. I totally agree with her approach, and it wasn't like she was trying to make me feel bad. You know, she was just like, this is what I think you should do. And then like Reggie was involved too. Like a lot of people were involved. Like a lot of really high profile people was involved. And I was just like, please.
So what eventually happened? What was the takeaway?
I think we just like
time passed and people moved on.
Yeah, we just let it go. Like towards the end,
the classic Nintendo way.
You sweep it under the rug. But yeah, you basically have to send like the scary apology email.
Yeah.
Which I've sent multiple scary apology emails before. Just like at this point, I'm like, just have some sort of like email bot just write my emails for me that always starts with, I'm sincerely sorry. I sincerely apologize for my error. Like just have every email start that way because that's what they want. You know? It's like, let me just deeply bow to you that I've messed this up. But yeah, I agree. Like maybe that is a situation where I learned a lot about like understanding these cultural differences better, working with all of these like super conservative, you know, high-ranking Nintendo Japan executives. I learned a lot about that through that experience. Like I thought I knew before that situation, but I think I learned more than I thought I knew.
That is one of the shocking questions that we would get asked again and again, which is, you know, in Japan, there are a lot of times where you can review editorial if you're a company who's involved in that. And
like with the Nikkei and stuff, they do that.
So we would often get asked, you know, when we're working on coverage, like, oh, so when do we get to review this? And we would have to explain, like, a couple times a year of like, that's not how it works here.
It's not. Editorial is, that's why they call it editorial.
So I don't understand why that was not understood and like absorbed over there.
It just wasn't the way there. It wasn't.
So that certainly didn't help the situation of having that different cultural perspective on it.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it was like the most high profile thing to happen to have a mistake on. You want those kinds of things in your career to go so perfectly because it's like a huge thing that you could put on your resume later, like, I did this. And it went perfectly, but it unfortunately did not. So yeah, I mean, you know, you mess up.
I don't think you CC'd me on those emails, by the way. But what else is new? What else is new? You never did.
You were not involved in this project. Your boss
If you want somebody to come to your assistance, I'm here. I'm glad to do it. No, thanks.
Sometimes you have to try to do things your
All right. Well, that's a good warm up for a story of a real mess up.
No, this is a real mess up.
It's a good warm up.
It's a real mess. I didn't throw up, but it was a real mess up.
I wanted to throw up when this was happening. Let's go back to 2009, my first year at Nintendo.
Oh wow, that's early days.
This is early on.
Okay.
So I started in January, but this was I think this was maybe like September-ish. I was working on new Super Mario Brothers Wii.
Yes.
Keep talking about these Mario games.
Wow.
So this was the big, kind of like we are in the same position with Mario Wonder. Like this was the big holiday game of the year, very high profile. We were doing a lot to promote it. And one of the things that we had in our campaign was, and we talked about this, in that era, like you had to have a big launch event.
Right.
So we had kind of a different approach with this time where we were going to do a 2-day back-to-back event. Day 1 is for celebrities, and day 2 is for just regular consumers to come in.
Now, was this the event with the museum?
Yes, but that was the museum has nothing to do with this story.
Oh.
Yeah, nothing to do with it.
Oh my.
So, and it was going to be at the Nintendo World Store in New York. The celebrity event was going to be inside because celebrities don't want to be out in the public.
No.
And the next day we would be spilling out into Rockefeller Plaza and doing stuff out there. So this was a big ticket event, very large budget, and a bit complex because we had our celebrity team working with our team, and we had some shared elements that we needed to make sure we were just on the same page on.
Right.
So in sort of September-ish, Mr. Miyamoto came over to New York to do a big press thing, and we were all out there with him for that. And that went great. He showed off the game. He was in high spirits. He was doing stuff. So that was great. One of those, while I was there, the agency sent through the budget for the launch event.
Okay.
And I was reviewing that. I remember I was in the hotel room and I was reviewing this. And and I was going through it and I was like, there's something here that doesn't look right to me. because at the bottom, the amount was correct, but it didn't include any of the elements for the celebrity half of the event.
Oh.
So
Well, we had two different agencies. We had a celebrity agency
Right.
and a PR agency.
But the person who was leading this was also here. So can you meet me in the lobby? And I'd like to just review this with you real fast. And this was like 8 or 9 o'clock. So it was like kind of an annoying request for me for this
Right.
person who was doing a lot of other things. And I just sat down. I was like, all right, just take me through this. And she takes me through it. And I say, okay, now what about the celebrity part of the event, which needs to be, because we have one amount that's meant to cover 2 events. And she says, what do you mean? And that's when I knew we had a problem. So basically what had happened was there was a misunderstanding that the budget amount that we had was like per agency. So we'd effectively doubled the cost of this already very expensive event.
Oh my God.
Not good. So that was a problem. And that was my fault because, I was sort of the project lead. It was my job to make sure everybody understands like how this works, how this gets divvied up.
It's a little confusing, but yeah.
It is a little confusing, a little unusual
We
for
had
how
a
we
couple
would do things.
different agencies too, which
Right,
is also confusing.
right. But ultimately, that was my
Yeah.
responsibility.
You do have to do all the budget stuff.
Yes,
for
that was my
these- for your
responsibility
launches.
to make sure that people were clear on
Yeah.
that and were tracking to be on budget.
I'm always terrified of doing the budget too.
In this case, they were on budget, but they misunderstood what the budget was.
Oh gosh. Canceled the tiny hamburgers?
So it was terrible because it's like, I need to do something about this, but now is not the time because we're in New York with Mr. Miyamoto. I cannot be running around with a chicken with the head cut off trying to fix this huge problem. So I had to wait until we got back to really like dig into
Yeah.
this. And I had to tell my boss because I was like, we got a problem. I need some help, honestly, because I don't know what to do.
And you also just started too.
Right. I was still like under a year in, still like figuring things out. So I was like, oh, this is bad. But I knew it was going to be bad. I was like, there's a good chance I could be fired for this because this is a lot of money, a big just like oversight whiff. And it's like, that's what that job is. So I went, I went to go talk to him. And he's in high school. He's like, oh, we just got back from New York. He was there too. He's like, oh yeah, Mr. Miyamoto was great. This was great. Everything's looking great. And I'm like, yeah, that was great. But I want to talk to you about this event. He's like, okay, what is it? We turn our focus to that. I was like, well, there's a problem with the budget. And he's like, okay, like, yeah, we may have gone over. Oh, okay, sure. Like, yeah, probably how much can it be? And
double.
And I told him the situation. And he had a nonverbal reaction.
Like a gas?
No, he kind of like gnashed his teeth, like he did something like he like grimaced and gnashed his teeth.
You might kill him.
But then he kind of like he went back to like more calm mode.
Okay.
And he was like, okay, well, we need to fix this. And
at least he wasn't like
right. He did not like
freak out.
He did not like stand up.
This is a person that's prone to freak out. So I'm
and
really
did not
surprised.
kick me out of the office and start ranting and raving. So there was a thing that you could do, which was in a campaign, there was kind of, each department got their own budgets that they get to work with. But there was a thing you could do, which was you could kind of freely trade funds in between
It's
teams.
one budget for that launch, but you could steal from another.
So if there was somebody who magically had that much money that I needed, we could request it and get it sent to us and have enough to cover.
Yeah, and we've done that in the past.
It's
other events.
It's way too much that we should have spent for this event, but as opposed to accidentally doubling the cost and having to like explain to Reggie like, oops, I'll take that route. So because the thing was always like spend the money. We are giving you this money to spend it.
Exactly.
Don't try and be like.
Don't spend it. You might not get the same amount later.
Right. Don't try and be Mr.
Frugal.
Mr. Frugal.
Yeah.
And like, oh, I saved the company all this money. He's like, no, you have this money.
Yeah. If you ask for it, you should spend it.
Right. So I went with like, hat in hand to all the different department heads, and I had to explain.
You cobble it together.
I had to explain what happened, how I was a dummy who messed this up, and they were all like, oh, that sucks, but sorry, we don't have it. And then until I got to the last one, who notoriously did this a lot, and they were like, oh, we absolutely have that money. You can have it.
I know exactly the department.
I know. Why do they always do that?
Because they actually do have a lot of variable costs.
Okay.
Because they don't know. They work with a lot of vendors.
Well, they
I feel
Yeah.
like they could like something they have a big contingency. We could also put in a contingency to the budget, which I always put in.
Contingency would not have covered this.
I know, but
this was
now,
a lot
but
of money.
There has been times where you're over budget and that contingency will save you.
Yes.
But you
Right.
can't ask for that much. You can
But
only ask for like a little bit.
This was way,
You're 50%
like
over the-
multiple times.
Oh, no, you were 100%
I was
over.
a lot over that.
And-
We had basically doubled the cost of this event. So it did have a happy ending that resolved itself. After we got that money, nobody asked a question about it. Nobody took a close look of like, why is this so expensive?
Oh my
gosh.
gosh.
Didn't matter.
It didn't matter.
The game went on to sell 30 million copies.
Recoup that
So-
cost right there.
But that could have been real bad. That could have been the end of my time at Nintendo before it even started.
Oh my gosh. Stressful.
After that, I was much more careful with that stuff.
Budgets are hard.
Sometimes you gotta learn the hard way.
Budgets are really hard,
Right, yeah.
and it can be confusing. There's so many agencies that you're managing, so many different things that
so-
you're trying to figure out. Yeah.
And something I learned is like when you're in that position, like sometimes you do have to ask the dumb questions because like just to get everybody on the same page.
Yeah,
It's like,
exactly.
do we know we have one budget for the two of us? Like
Right.
that would have been
Yeah.
the dumb question
Yeah.
to ask that would have prevented this whole thing from happening.
The other thing that you learn very quickly in that job is that you're so much more than a PR or
Yeah.
communications professional. You are an event coordinator, project manager. You know, you're
Exactly.
doing so much out of the scope of your core skills sometimes that it is such a learning process, especially for you early days. Who knew you were going to be in charge of project managing an entire, multifaceted launch event? Like, I certainly didn't know that when I was doing this job, that I would have to somehow go to rehearsals for flash mobs
Right.
and send a trailer across the United States and do all sorts of crazy Splatoon mess fest. I mean, it's ridiculous. That's not in the job description. That's not your core skill, but you're doing it.
Yeah.
So you have to learn from it.
So it's good to have a moment of vulnerability, get those out there. If you enjoyed these stories, there's certainly more where that came from.
There's so many.
You can always do a part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5. As you said, every couple of years, you got to do one of these. You just got to get it out of your system.
I will say it again.
Mess up.
Po buddies, nerf it. Get the hat. That's what happens.
Wow. All right. Feeling great. Getting that out of my system. Let's move on to our Never a Minute segment, the Kiss, Marry, Kill Console Wars with a Z edition.
Yes.
It's been a while since we did one of these. So we have 3 options. We have to pick one to kiss, one to marry,
Oh gosh.
one to kill, sadly.
That first one is so hard.
I have these starting with this current generation. We're going to
Yeah.
start from the bottom and go up. So we're starting, our first 3 options are PlayStation 1,
oh my god.
Nintendo 64, and the Sega Saturn.
Okay.
This was before we had a proper solid 3 companies per generation. This is kind of
This is
early days of
early
this.
days, yeah. Okay, so for that first set, I would marry the PS1, kiss the N64, and kill Saturn.
I'm also going to kill the Saturn. Let's get that out of the way. I think I'm going to flip. The N64, in hindsight, really did not compete well with the PlayStation 1 and got kind
Right.
of stomped in terms of how many games and the
Yeah.
quality of the games.
And in my life, I chose that pairing. I chose to have a PS1 and not an N64.
Oh, right.
In my real life.
I was a little bit late to that realization, though. So I got a PS1 kind of late, maybe halfway through the life cycle. Mm-hmm. So I really did live or die with the Nintendo 64. So
Okay.
I have maybe
You gotta marry it?
a closer. I do need to marry it, and I maybe have a different perspective on it, going through those really hard times with it, and really going deep into those games.
Because you just had to
super deep.
Yeah, you played Mario 64 for
Forever.
8 months basically.
Before
'Cause there was no other games for
Before
it.
literally another game came out.
Right.
Right. It's not every week like we are now. Oh my
Yeah,
god, I
you
need
have,
to finish
another
this
triple
100-hour RPG. It's
Yeah.
no, you have a solid
You
9
have
months
one game for 1 year
to play a game.
Yeah, exactly.
So then I will then kiss the PS1.
Okay.
Moving on. Now this is the one where we have 4 options.
Okay, so
One just gets, what do you want to call that? Friend zoned?
Oh, friend
One
zone.
gets friend zoned.
Okay, friend zone. That's good.
So we
I like
have
that.
the PlayStation 2,
Uh-huh.
the GameCube, the Xbox, and the Dreamcast. Okay. Wow. This is a tricky one.
This is a tricky
Quite a
one.
generation.
This is really tricky. Yeah, so many things came out in this generation. Dreamcast, I'm going to kill. Oh. Sorry. I think I have to marry the GameCube because that was when I reignited my passion for Nintendo games. Like in that era of the GameCube. That era was not great either, honestly, but I have a special
A lot of people do.
Really special
It's interesting
relationship with the GameCube era and the GameCube era of games.
Right. If you asked a lot of people to rank their favorite Nintendo generation, I think GameCube would be really high.
It was formative years.
Yet it was kind of a sales dud.
Formative years for me, though. Like it just really. I think if I didn't have those years with the GameCube, I never would have even gone on to this career of like working in video games. So yeah, gonna marry the GameCube. I'll kiss the PS2. That was a great system. Like obviously one of the best ever. And I'll friend zone the Xbox. I never owned an original Xbox, I have to say.
And you didn't own a Dreamcast.
I didn't.
So you're kind of flipping a coin there.
I am. I mean, I played it at my friends' houses, and I had like sort of access to it, but I never really have any sort of attachment.
Okay. So this was the generation starting from here where I did own everything.
Right.
And since then, I have owned all of these systems.
You own a Dreamcast?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I got that was the first and only Sega system that I got.
Oh, okay.
While it was active. I've gotten a few after the fact. Dreamcast is amazing. It was really, cut down before it could reach its full potential, sadly.
Unfortunately.
But some amazing games on the Dreamcast. I'm going to marry the PS2.
Oh, wow.
PS2 is just like a god level console.
It's
like
great.
the amount of incredible games on the PS2 is
it's
mind blowing.
It's like Switch level amount of games.
It really is.
It truly feels like
really
that.
Is. And like where a lot of franchises started that we're still playing today got started on the PS2.
I know.
Absolutely incredible. I will kiss the GameCube.
Okay.
I'll kiss the GameCube.
That's nice.
I would probably like we were saying, if people had to tear it out, I would probably put it a little bit lower than some people.
I think so. You don't seem to have that relationship with GameCube.
I like it, but I don't.
Do.
I like it, but I don't love it like a lot of people do. I don't know.
That's so interesting.
And this is tough because I like all of these systems. I'm going to kill the Xbox.
Okay.
And I'm going to friend zone the Dreamcast.
Okay.
I'm going to kill the Xbox because, that's kind of what Microsoft did when they were ready to move on. Like, they had the quickest whistle for that. I was like, no.
Oh, but they just pulled the plug, right?
It's kind of like what happened with the Wii U. We're like, yeah, we're done with this. We're moving on. But, I mean, Xbox is great, too. So this one's tough. Yeah. I have no, animosity in my heart for any of these.
Wow.
Like I do for some others coming up. Next, PS3. Sony's keeping it easy for us.
Sony's
PS1, PS2, PS3.
Yeah, it's good.
We have the Wii, and we have the Xbox 360.
Oh, man.
All have their differences. The Xbox 360 came out a year earlier.
Yeah.
What do you say? You're looking blankly at this screen.
I'm having a hard time with
I'll
this.
go. Oh. I'm going to marry the Xbox 360.
I think I'm going to marry
an extravagant mountaintop.
Oh, wow.
Ceremony.
Xbox 360 and I are going on a destination wedding to Hawaii. Yeah. It's beautiful.
So taking all consoles, not just Nintendo consoles, like where I would have Xbox 360 is really high.
It's really high. Well, this is my first Xbox, obviously, because I just said that I didn't have an original Xbox, and it blew my mind.
Well, this is the one Xbox where they got it all pretty much right.
I could not believe that this thing existed. I was like, this is how we can play video games now? Oh my God.
Yeah, it's like, there's this really good online service now.
Yeah.
This is the first one that had HD graphics.
I was literally, my little brain could not handle the amazing.
It's not $600 like a PlayStation 3.
I know. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, God, it was crazy. And then the online was like magic. With the trophies and the
achievements, yes.
Not the trophies, the
Chivos.
Chivos.
Yeah.
Like that changed the way I played.
So you're marrying that
video
too.
games. I definitely will.
All right. We might have the same takes on this one.
Okay, I'm kissing Wii though,
I am too.
and I'm killing PS3.
I think that's the way
I didn't
to
even
go.
own it because it was too expensive. I didn't have.
You didn't have a
I didn't
PS3
have the
at all.
money for it.
Okay, that's fair.
I could not afford the $600 console
Yeah.
while I was in college.
The first half of the PS3 was very shaky, and they did get back on track, but it was, I mean, you basically were like looking at the exclusives because everything was on Xbox 360. You already had and loved an Xbox 360. People playing games online, getting achievements on Xbox 360.
You cannot let the Chivos go.
Right. The Wii, I obviously have a huge soft spot for, but
course.
if I had to like subsist off a single console,
Exactly. I can't be bowling all the time.
the Wii might be a hard way to do it.
I mean, I did some crazy things to get my Wii, and I was I was part of that fervor of Wii. But yeah, if you were asking me to take someone to a desert island, I would take the 360.
Totally.
Yeah.
Next.
Okay, next.
PS4. Wii U. And the Xbox One, aka Xbone.
Oh, Xbone.
Yeah.
Okay, this one is. Can we kill multiple? Just kidding.
Wow.
Just kidding.
Wow.
Kill them all.
Oh my gosh.
No, I actually didn't mind the
Really?
PS4. PS4 is pretty good.
PS4 is pretty good.
I got back on track with my PS
Yeah.
during the PS4 era
Yeah.
because I skipped PS3. I love PS2. PS3 disappointed me to no end. PS4, I was like, I'm in. Got mine at Costco. I was so excited.
Oh,
I'm
Costco.
gonna marry the PS4. I got a good deal on that PS4. I'm gonna marry the PS4. Xbox One had.
Did you have that?
I didn't have that.
I don't think you had that.
But I had some problems, didn't it? It had some like major issues.
You can wait for me to speak on that one.
Oh gosh. I can't kill Wii U as much as I want to because I'm too emotionally tied to it. It's like a toxic relationship that I keep going
The
back
Wii U like tripped over a rock and did itself in.
Yeah, it's like you're in a bad marriage and then they just like die on their own. So
Wow. All right.
Just wait them out.
So what is your rating for Wii U?
my Wii U rating is Kiss.
Kiss.
And then I'll kill the Xbox One because I heard it was bad and I didn't get it.
Yeah, I have the same rating. The Xbox One was
You went through how many of them?
No. That's the 360 that had the red
360.
ring. I rage quit on the Xbox One. That is the, like I said, I've owned all of these. That is the one that I got rid of halfway through the generation. I got it for Titanfall.
Such a good game.
Incredible game.
Incredible game.
And then I just waited. And there were no big, good exclusives. And it's like, again, I had a PS4, which was killing it at the time.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I don't have a future with this system. I wanted the Crackdown was the game, the other series I loved, and I just kept waiting. It kept getting delayed and delayed and delayed, and in the end, that game wasn't even that good. So I sold it. I canceled my Xbox Live account.
Now you still have problems with that.
It was so hard to do because it was attached to an email address that I didn't use anymore at the time. It was like an old AOL because I had original Xbox, that's where I got Xbox Live for the first time, and they're like, "Sir, we need access to this email account." I was like, "I don't have it. Can you just do this for me?"
Oh my God.
So in the end, I found a way. All those achievements gone, all those friends gone, the whole thing's gone.
Yeah, your Xbox thing is really weird now.
I just like nuked my whole Xbox.
You have like a shadow, like
Yeah, I have one friend's you.
and you have like a shadow, like screen name that doesn't exist anymore.
That's another thing.
That was
Yeah.
it was like something weird is going on with you. You had like multiple accounts, or I don't know.
That was
it
a lot
really
worse.
bad.
So I had a traumatic end to my
You did,
Xbox
yeah.
relationship there.
You did. You truly did.
I will also marry the PS4 and kiss the Wii U. I mean, I love the Wii U games. It's just the hardware. I just
cannot
can't.
get on board with this. Yeah. Again, toxic relationship.
PS4, really, I think maybe we're only a few years away. I might say underrated.
It's pretty awesome.
Pretty quickly became, or maybe just because PS5 is doing so well.
Yeah.
But PS4 was legit. Very legit. Our final round.
I can't do this.
It's where we are now. Switch, PS5, Xbox Series. All doing great. All have their own things going on.
You have them all.
You have to. You have to.
No.
You're gonna cop out?
It's too hard. I use them all for different things. Is the thing.
Well,
Dang it!
Start with Mary. What are you marrying?
Switch.
Yeah. Same.
Gosh darn it. I don't want to, but I have to. It's too hot.
Wow.
It's too sexy. I have to marry it. I've got to kiss the PS5, I think. I'm so sorry, Xbox Series S and X. I really do love my Xbox, but...
Well, your Xbox is mostly a Game Pass machine,
It's my Game
right?
Pass machine. Yeah, that's the thing. There's not too many exclusives on there.
They're ramping up.
They're ramping up.
We're getting there.
I'm really excited for Starfield. Maybe that will change my mind and I'll kill something else.
Maybe.
In like a month, I'll kill something else, you know? Yeah, that's why. Because I do use it a lot for all the Game Pass stuff. And I love like just, you know, being able to sample games and doing all that stuff. It's great. But if I had to like, you know, look at the time that I spent on every console...
Yeah.
That's how it shakes out.
Yeah.
Really.
Mine are exactly the same. But like you said, it's great that this generation, there's not one that just gathers dust.
Not
like
at all.
That tended to happen in previous generations.
We are in like such a boon day
Spoiled.
we're so spoiled. We have so many great games that we get to play. So many that we can't even find the time in the day to play it. All these great systems that work don't make you want to rage quit.
Yeah. To have games, wow.
We have stuff. We have all these, you know, pretty good variety on all of these, and it's pretty great.
Well, that was fun.
I'm so sorry.
Caused you some stress.
I'm a little stressed out.
Let's move on to our Patreon poll. Speaking of Starfield.
Oh, yeah.
It was a big week for Starfield last week.
Very exciting.
The game went gold. The game went up for early access,
Yay.
preloading. Not early access, preloading.
Preloading, yes. Preloading.
And we heard that people in the media have the game. So that's,
I think the review embargo lifts.
That's about 3-ish weeks. So that's good.
Yeah,
people
August
need time.
31st is when we'll see reviews.
Okay.
That's exciting stuff.
Great.
We're getting there.
So we just wanted to do a check-in with our Patreon subscribers and see how they're feeling about it. So we had 5 options here. Let's go through how everybody voted. 44%. I'm not interested in Starfield.
What?
Well, if you don't have an Xbox, it might not be really on your radar. So
PC.
I think it's fair. Then we had a tie at 19% for choices 2 and 3. 19% said I will be playing on day 1. And 19% said I'll wait to see how the reviews look before I decide to play or not. Fair?
That's fair.
That's safe?
That's very fair. Oh. Very safe. Yeah. And yes, I think it is hard to kind of understand the scope of this game without these deeper reviews.
Right.
Yeah.
17% said I'm interested, but I'll be playing another game when Starfield comes out. Common dilemma. We have our Baldur's Gate dilemma.
We do.
What are you going to do about that? Have you decided?
I might have already found a solution to my problem, honestly.
All right.
So.
I still don't know what I'm going to do.
Okay.
But I don't have to decide now. But yeah, there's no shortage of stuff to play. And then 3% said, I've learned my lesson about playing Bethesda games at launch. I'll wait for the inevitable patches.
Ah, okay.
I thought there would be more people taking this route, actually.
Yeah.
I have a better feeling about this game, though. I don't know if it's the fact that Microsoft is involved or they just seem to have a lot of confidence about it now.
They do, and they seem to be really on track with everything, which is a good sign, right?
So we'll see.
Yeah.
Let's look at some comments. Wario Tush says, given that Bethesda games are notoriously buggy at launch and the plethora of games are on the horizon like Armored Core, Super Mario Wonder, and Spider-Man, I have zero problems waiting a few months to pick Starfield up. I do hope it's good and that it gives Bethesda the boost they need to get their output and reputation back on track.
Good.
Cool.
Comment. Well said.
Gartooth says, I don't own an Xbox, so I won't be able to play Starfield, but if I did, it would be day 1.
Oh, maybe you should buy an Xbox.
Well, this is what Phil Spencer said in the legendary kind of funny interview. He's like, there's no game that will like reverse the fortunes of a platform.
Right.
No one game. So, yeah, I think maybe this is the start of something for people who don't have an Xbox starting to think about the platform. Maybe I should pick this up.
Nintendo famously is always on the jag. Like we always heard this when we were at Nintendo. Like software sells hardware.
Yeah.
But you need like multiple.
You need, I think, 3 that people want was the number that would often get touted.
Multiple to be able to do that. but you're right. It could be like step 1 to people being on their way.
Right.
Yeah.
And then finally, Silphco said, I'm waiting on reviews to see if it'll be worth subscribing to Game Pass just to play it day one. If it turns out anything less than great, I'll probably skip it completely and get Game Pass later. I'm not even sure it's my kind of game, so I wouldn't be too upset in that case, to be honest.
Interesting. Yeah, I think it is interesting that no one kind of definitively knows if it's their kind of game, because the game is so massive that there's got to be something that appeals to a lot of people, but it's hard to like pinpoint what that might be for you personally. So.
Yeah, I'll be very interested when some of these media or people can start like streaming it or sharing their own clips and impressions, because we got the very, sanitized direct where they had a lot to get through.
Yeah.
And we saw a lot, but like what is the core experience of this game? Like I said, like this seems like the most ambitious game ever made.
Yeah. Like if they could pull it off, it would be like a feat.
Yeah, something I've been wondering a lot is like the first like 2 hours of this game.
Like
what are you doing? How do they set up this gigantic massive... do anything universe?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm really curious about that.
Me too.
Speaking of busy releases, Armored Core, I believe, comes out this week, so you're going to be dropping everything to play that.
I need to check that game out.
As you promised you did.
I really want to check this game out. I'm so curious about
Bandai Namco, are you listening?
Bandai Namco, please.
Wink, wink.
Send me a code. Rocky!
Oh, my goodness. All right. That's a very fun poll and a good segue to the games we've been playing. But first, we have another great sponsor to shout out.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, BetterHelp, for sponsoring this episode. There are a lot of times where you are going to be unclear or uncertain about where you're going in life, and there's all sorts of tough choices. This is where it helps to just speak to somebody like a BetterHelp therapist, help you make the right decision.
Exactly. You need someone that's out of your current situation is what I always say. And that's what the value that I find in speaking to my BetterHelp therapist is that someone that is not like muddled in all your
perspective.
Exactly. You need like an professional outsider's perspective to really help you kind of unweave all of the stuff that is complicating you when you're faced with these kinds of decisions or big life, problems. It really helps to have that kind of perspective.
Yeah, whether it's, personal, professional, whatever it may be, that's a perfect match for BetterHelp. It's entirely online. It's very easy to get matched up with a therapist. You fill out a quick questionnaire.
Yes.
And get matched and go from there. You can meet with them on video, on audio, on text only. You can decide how engaged you want to be, whatever format you want to be with. So we've all used it. We love it.
Yeah. I wish I had a BetterHelp therapist talk me through my big Nintendo goof at the time. That would have been very helpful. I think that would have been very helpful, and I probably wouldn't be so traumatized still. So there we go.
Or CC me. Let therapy be your map with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/KitandKrysta today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/KitandKrysta.
We'll put the link right over here and also in the description below.
Yeah. It is a very short games we're playing segment
we're only
this
playing
week.
2 games.
As we are deep into Diablo 4.
We really are. We have gone from like just starting our characters and like kind of starting to dabble. And I feel like I'm right now in I am completely like in on this game. I'm starting to be that person again where like I'm thinking about the game all the time. I'm like reading a bunch of different guides for the best like specs for my class. You and I are talking a lot about some of the things that are new to this game that are a little bit confusing to both of us, and we're trying to like unravel like what we're actually supposed to be doing to get the most out of it, to make sure our characters are nice and healthy so that we can deal with these like end game big bosses, because I think that's going to start becoming quite the challenge for us. But it's been so fun. We've been playing multiplayer a whole bunch, going through all of the different acts. You have skipped a myriad of cutscenes already, which is good.
I don't watch the cutscenes in this game. No offense to the wonderful people who made the cutscenes.
Are so good.
Or wrote the story. I'm sure they're incredible, but I'm here to click away on little skeletons and loot.
You want loot. You want the stuffs is what you're here for. And I get that. Everyone plays the game for different reasons. I like the cutscenes.
So let's see. What are we playing as? You are...
I am a sorceress.
And I'm a barbarian.
You're a barbarian.
Named Guy Dudebro.
Guy Dudebro is your barbarian name from like all of the Diablos we ever played together, all the way back to Diablo 2.
I have to do it now, yes.
yeah, we've been playing Diablo together for so long now. It's so nice to like get into this one. But your first character is always the barbarian. My first character is always the sorceress. It's great. It works out good.
You need to spam the frozen orb.
I need a meat shield, so that's what you are. But yeah, you and I have been both doing this where we have been looking at different guides.
Yes.
For our skills.
Yeah.
That skill tree is a little bit complicated, honestly, and there's so many things that feed into the skill tree that is different that we are trying to figure out.
Would you say the skills for the sorceress, like, are they really different, or do they just kind of layer onto each other in a different way?
Exactly. That's like the second option, because the actual like things that you're doing, like Frost Nova and Frozen Orb and Blizzard, like that's all core sorceress stuff that I need to have this in a Diablo game. Like, do not mess with that. Don't take out the Frozen Orb, okay? I would be mad. But there's like all these different ways where they have like little augments to the skills that I'm not sure what to put the points into to get the best effect out of it. So I'm looking at a guide for that. And then there's also those enchantment things that you unlock where you can put a skill in that and get the passive things. And I was like, I literally stared at the skill tree for like an hour. I was like, huh?
Yeah, the game's progression initially seems to be very similar to past games, but then there's a lot more to it. So I think once you hit level 50, which we have not hit yet, there's kind of a whole other board that pops up.
Paragon.
Where it's like so you've made your choices on skills, but now it's just other like boosts to those.
Yes.
And like I've seen videos where they go through this, and it's quite complex and big. So that's something that we're gonna be hitting 50 soon, so we're gonna have to start to look into that and figure that out, which is fine because I think I'm finally got like the build for the foreseeable future set.
Yeah, I think so too.
Like, people eventually will respec when they hit, really late game and
like 99.
Enemies get different defenses and weaknesses.
You need resistance is the thing.
And resistances.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like you were saying, you can do these special dungeons that will give you these other abilities that you are like oftentimes they're passive boosts or boost to skills that you can attach to a
weapons.
Piece of gear.
Yeah.
And you can get them off the gear and reattach them.
Yeah, the affinity stuff.
Right. So you can look all through the map and see like, oh well, I want to do this dungeon to get this, and I want to do this to do this, because a lot of times they're specific to a class.
Yeah. Yes.
And this is something the game does not the best job of explaining to you.
No, I did not understand what that. It was in like one of the guides I was reading. I was like, what does that mean?
I haven't really seen the game explain it at all, actually.
I was confused.
So, but I saw like the terminology pop up, and I just like started looking into it. Like, well, what is this? Mm-hmm. And it's pretty important and useful. And those dungeons that you do are very big.
They are big
and hard.
Yeah.
So
I soloed one last night and got one of the skills that I needed.
Yeah, that's a whole other layer to the base game that we have been doing.
It's tough.
And then there's this other thing called Renown. Is that's what it's called?
Yeah, Renown.
Which is basically you get bonuses for exploring the map,
getting waypoints,
doing side quests.
Yeah,
right.
My Renown is low.
That's another mechanic that they don't explain, and is kind of hidden in the menus too. Like I was really looking for it last night, and I actually found that I had a bunch of perks that I had yet to claim.
Yeah, it says claim these perks.
So I had like 4 skill points that were just waiting for me.
I know.
I was like, wow, well, I totally forgot how to even get to this menu.
I know. Same here.
Right.
I basically was like, oh, I had to click that button.
Because I was like, gosh, well, I'm doing all this stuff. I'm exploring like crazy, and I'm not getting any bonuses. Well, they were waiting for me. I just couldn't find them.
I know. The menus are a little buried too.
Yeah. So that's what I was saying, like, when I started this game, was like, I really don't have a clear sense of how this game is different. But the more I play it and the more I understand these different systems and things that are a bit under the hood, I see that and I respect the game a lot more for it, because it's easy to look at Diablo and it's like, well, you just click and things die. But there's like so much else happening that can change that experience. Right.
I do like just like the super, deep customization you can do now. That's so beyond like what I've seen in other Diablo games. Like I literally had no clue that this was part of the new, like how you build your character until I started playing. And even then I didn't know until like you were telling me and I was looking into it more, because you're right. The game does not hold your hand through any of this stuff, and they're just like trying to figure it out. But yeah, I'm excited to like dig into those things a little bit more now that I know that they exist, and see how that helps our characters. I will say that we're doing pretty good. Like, we have not run into.
There were a few.
There was a few, but not in like, oh my gosh, we
can't do this.
Died like multiple times and we can't do it. Like, we've been okay.
Yeah, the bosses in this game that's something that's very different.
I was going to say that too.
The bosses are quite challenging, and they make you think strategically instead of just, because a lot of the old Diablo games, like, we're just going to stand here and plow away on it.
Yeah, you got one hand holds,
right, and maybe I'll have to heal a bit more because it's powerful. Like this one, like they will have attacks that make you like move around the map.
Sometimes they add like other characters
Other NPC characters will
whether
come in.
to help or harm.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're very lengthy battles that seem to ramp up in difficulty as they go on.
There's also a stun effect that happens that I noticed. That's really interesting.
Once you hit certain percentages of the life bar, they will drop potions, which you are desperately waiting for.
We are desperately needing potions.
Yeah. We learned about the valuable skill of dying in a corner.
Yes, we do that. That's our strategy is if you are about to die and you have no more potions, go die in a corner because if someone revives you, you get your potions back.
Right.
We also learned that you can upgrade your potions.
I got more potions now.
I did too.
Good. Yeah. So you can upgrade potions, get more potions. Some of these are basic things, but again, the game tells you nothing.
It tells you nothing. Yeah.
So you need to get into it. I will gently push back on your thing about how focused you can get on customizing your character and having the best character. Like when I watch a lot of these guides, I wonder what the goal, what are these people getting at with having the mega efficient because they're like, I'm racing through to get to the end game. It's like, okay, and then what?
Right. Exactly.
It's like I am often left with an empty feeling when I finish the main Diablo games.
Feeling?
Because it's like, well, what do I do now? What am I doing? I have this level 90 whatever character.
Yeah.
And yes, I can plow.
PvP?
I can plow through anything. I don't really do.
I don't PvP.
I can plow through everything, but it's like, well, what now? Yeah. So that point of I am racing through the game.
Yeah, I'm not racing through.
I don't really love that.
I don't love that. I like to, my goal for any of these is I want to spec a character that matches with the way I like to play this game.
Yeah.
And, I always spec the best ice sorceress I can. That's just what I do.
Spam the frozen orbs.
That's just what but if you want me to spam the
I'm not mad at it. No, I'm not mad at it.
Which I like to do is I need to have the mana regen. I need to have all of these passive skills. I need the glass cannon. I need all of this stuff where I can spam the frozen orb, which is what I like to do. Yeah, exactly. So that's my goal when I look at all of these guides and how I approach these characters. But yeah, not I want to just be invincible and just plow through the game. I just I want to make a character where it's fun for me to play it and it's not annoying for me to play. Because when my first spec, I didn't like it because I would spam the frozen orb and I would be out of mana all the time and it was really annoying. So I respect and now it's better. So there you go.
The other thing that we realized is different is the map. Previously it was every act had its own distinct area, and you would go to that area, and there would be a hub city, and then you would venture forth to do your stuff. Now it's there's just one map.
I kind of like it though.
It is so big.
Yeah.
I think we've maybe seen a third of it.
Maybe.
But I feel like we've seen a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
we're still missing a ton of waypoints.
It is nice to have a seamless world, and there are more sort of towns scattered around that are not necessarily huge towns, but it's a place
little villages,
to take a breather.
You can top
sell
off
whatever
your
you need to
potions,
sell.
do
your stuff before you move on.
Yeah.
And I'm really curious of what the rest of the map is, and there's a lot of stuff on the map. So again, that's where you can just say oh, Diablo's a super shallow game. You're just clicking. But no, the way they've made this game, you can see there is really good game design.
It's amazing game design, truly.
Do you know any really mega diehard Diablo fans in your life? Do you have any in your life?
I really don't.
Because I have
friends.
some, and I know people have been extremely mad about some of the patches that have been happening lately.
I have looked at
big mad
because there's the balancing patches that they've done, and so I've been looking at specs for my character that's post all of these patches because I don't want it to be weird.
Yeah, people have been saying for us, the barbarian and the sorcerer have been ruined.
I know. I think that they've rebalanced the sorceress.
Again, it's I don't have any frame of reference. I think it's fine.
I think it's fine.
But people are while I'm scrolling these videos or talking to these people I know who are level 90, they're I can't believe this. those jerks.
Oh,
They
really?
ruined this for me.
Oh, really? No, I feel good.
Yes, the nerfs.
I'm sorry. I feel good
I mean, I
about
don't know
mine.
how you balance these games.
Yeah,
because it
that's
seems like
hard.
you just kind of take from one, put it to the other. Like you can never have perfect
Yeah.
balance.
Exactly.
You're always trying to get there.
Right.
So that's really hard. I find the patches are fun though because it's something new to look forward to. That maybe they added something that you didn't have before.
Exactly. I haven't found it to be like dramatically changing my
Smash cut to my rage video in 2 weeks when the next patch comes out. I am done with Blizzard and Diablo.
Everything I did was for naught. Everything doesn't matter anymore.
My life is ruined.
Ruined your life.
My life as a barbarian is ruined.
The other thing that I think we both agree on is like it's a little bit too easy to get like the gold drops.
Oh yeah.
Like
I feel like it was like this in Diablo 3 too.
Yeah. They just know that that's
There's no point in picking up the blue. In
I
Diablo 2 you would occasionally find a blue that was okay.
The blue is trash, but I use it for like materials.
Oh, you still pick it up?
I pick it up to salvage.
Oh, who's got the time for that?
Because I need it for all this materials.
Oh, because you said you were light on materials.
I'm light on
I don't have
materials.
this problem actually.
I can't attach my affinity because I don't have a material. I need this material desperately. Anyways, but yeah, like 90% of the stuff I pick up, even if it's gold, I'm like, I cannot use this. So now I'm just like, I can only wear legendary stuff.
Yeah. Gosh.
But anyways, small thing.
More on that
I really
to come.
like it,
Mario RPG.
Yes.
So we are still very early in this, but for me it was returning to the game since it first came out. And for you it was seeing it really for the first time.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to hear your thoughts as a first timer.
It's been
And again, we're playing the original Super Nintendo version.
Yes, Legend of the Seven Stars
Right.
on Super NES. Yeah, so I am a very big fan of the Mario and Luigi games, and so it's kind of interesting to see sort of where the series started, and also a little bit surprising because it's like, wow, how did Nintendo decide to take a game in this direction where you're so focused on like humor and dialogue for characters that basically had like zero personality since like the birth of since their creation, I guess. So to take sort of like a risky approach, and do something that's so tied to humor, and humor is so hard too because what's funny to you may not be funny to somebody else. They totally pull it off, obviously, and it's fascinating to see the series becoming a thing with this game, and yeah, so far I'm very curious. The story seems to be pretty interesting. There's a lot of like random characters that we're meeting and like random enemies, and yeah, I was just saying we met Mallow for the first time, and there's something mysterious going on with Mallow. No one will tell me. No one tell me because I don't want to be spoiled. But yeah, I'm just curious to see like where it goes because the story just feels like a lot for a Nintendo game. So yeah, I like it so far. Holds up.
Yeah, I was surprised at how little I remembered. I remembered really like the high points of what the game is and how it plays and who the characters are, but like some of the specific beats, like I don't remember at all. It's been a long time.
It's been a really long time.
But yeah, it's interesting that they have Mario RPG, Mario and Luigi, Paper Mario. They're all kind of variations on the same Mario RPG idea.
Yeah.
This is the one that I like the best though. Out of all of those for whatever reason. So I like going back to it. Plays great still. Really pioneered that sort of active battle system where you're not just pressing a button waiting for something to happen. And yeah, it's still legitimately funny, and this is the blueprint for the personality of a lot of these characters.
That's the thing; it holds up. It really holds up, and quite challenging too. Some of those beginning boss battles are already starting to get pretty tough, and you really have to have that precision button press and understand how to like work with your other characters to really get through those battles. So I'm glad they're not trying to like hold your hand through it or whatever. So yeah.
Yeah, I am starting to think as I play through it of like, well, what are they going to do with this area or this thing in the remake?
Yeah.
Like, how much are they going to just do as it is, and then how much are they going to do something fresh or different to, or like lines, like certain lines, like does this line still work in 2023?
Oh,
we're
man.
going to update this.
Someone's going to get canceled or what?
I don't know.
I don't know what else is in this game.
But yeah, I mean, it is something where you probably could just do a very simple visual refresh and call it a day.
And that's what it seems like. That is what it is in the trailer that they released.
I think it's more of that than a big change.
I think so too.
But yeah, it's been really fun to go to. I'm excited to go back to it, and yeah, I'm glad I still like it. Because you never know.
I can't wait to play this and then like finally see what the fuss is about, and I'm really liking it so far, and then play the remake. I think it's going to be great to be fully immersed in all of Mario RPG.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the news. We've got a couple Xbox stories and then a Nintendo story here.
This thing.
So, the Xbox 360 Marketplace is going to be closing in July 2024, not this year, so a little under a year from now.
You have time.
I really had to dig into the specifics of this because I was a little unclear on what exactly was affected.
Yes.
So my understanding is that this applies specifically to buying games on an Xbox 360.
Right.
In the FAQ that they have on the site, they clarify, and this is I would have been a bit more front and center about this.
I know. This is like the point that will ease people's fears.
Right, I was much less worried when I saw this. So all the games that you can currently buy that are Xbox 360 on like an Xbox Series X or S, those will still be there.
Right.
And those aren't going anywhere. So it's basically, but not everything is there. So there's a selection of games that you can buy now on a current system. It's just kind of the full library is that you would need to buy on an Xbox 360. That is what's going to get shut down.
Right. So that's a lot less dire than the Wii U and 3DS eShop.
I mean, I wish they had a way to have every game be backwards compatible. I understand that's not what they're doing, so that's a bit of a bummer. Mm-hmm. Do you think you'll go back? Do you still have an Xbox 360? First of all,
not.
I do.
I might be out of luck here.
That, we were just talking about how much we love that platform. I feel pretty good about my Xbox 360 collection.
Yeah,
I was buying
think so too.
A lot of games on the Xbox 360, so
I might be okay.
I think I'm okay. I'll probably
just do a check.
There will be the inevitable videos, like when the eShop on the 3DS shut down.
Yeah.
I'm like, here's 10 games to get. We should do.
We definitely should do that.
We should do a few of those.
Is Gerard the completionist going
what's
to
Gerard gonna
buy
do?
every single
We
game?
saw that he seemed quite over it when this happened.
Like, not again.
A lot of
hilarious.
games. There's a lot more games on a 360 than there was on a Wii U, let me tell you.
That's the thing. Yeah, there's a lot more there.
Yeah. I wish the companies would be a bit more transparent about why they have to do this. Because you could say, in the case of Microsoft, they've got all the money in the world. If it's a money thing, that shouldn't be the problem. What actually is the problem?
Resources?
And I imagine
something like that?
I don't know. I imagine there's something of this infrastructure is getting so old. Do we need to rebuild the Xbox 360 infrastructure? Obviously, they can see how many people are actually buying stuff.
It's probably a low number.
It must be dwindling.
Exactly.
There's just some balance.
Could we put that team that's maintaining this on something else?
Right. But I would love to know. But it's one of those things where people get defensive about it, and they never want to tell you the full reason.
Yeah, because the reason always boils down to we're going to use the money for something else.
Yeah, we got something else we want to do.
We got money, and we got to put the money into something else.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So doesn't taste right for a customer or whatever.
Yeah,
I get that,
we got a year to go on this. I'm sure we'll be coming back to this.
Yeah, yeah. At least it's not as... I read that and I was like, not again. And then I read it some more and I was like, okay, not as bad. So that was my gamut of emotions.
Right, because unless you're buying the fully remade Switch versions of Wii U games, those games are not there.
That's what I'm saying.
And 3DS is even worse.
Dead.
Is even worse.
R.I.P.
But yeah, there's a decent selection of those. I always like to. I wish they had a better way to filter those on the store. On the Xbox Series, they kind of don't have that. It's a bit hard to find, but I do occasionally buy those.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. This next story is another interesting one. So Xbox has introduced a new online harassment system where people can get strikes, which will eventually lead to them getting banned.
Banned, yeah. This enforcement stacking user journey.
So again, I had to click through to
so interesting.
I think it's Xbox Wire where they share news. They have this amazing visual, which is like right out of somebody's
PowerPoint.
business PowerPoint deck.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel bad for the regular person who's trying to make any sense at all of this.
Absolutely no sense.
As I certainly can't.
Kind of like smallest thing ever.
Yeah. But I mean, this has really been something that in the Phil Spencer era, Xbox has been very focused on.
Good.
I think it's very good because
It's gotten so much better.
let's be honest, things got out of control. Before then, in the 360,
The 360 era.
I certainly had a lot of bad encounters with people. I can only imagine what happened to you.
I don't ever go on voice chat. That's my...
But back then, that was the novel. I was like, oh, there were no other ways to do voice chat.
I know.
So you would like...
I didn't want... Like,
you would suck
I did
it up.
a
You're like, I
little
want to
bit,
try
and
this.
it was not a good idea.
Yeah.
It was
yeah.
really, really bad. Like, really traumatizing. So
Yeah,
no.
creeps, weirdos, jerks, they're all there.
So bad. So bad.
Right. So it's kind of shocking that we have gotten to it's gone on this long without there being, somebody really trying to step in and solve the problem.
Yeah.
I
guess this chart's going to do it for us.
Yeah,
Huh?
there is kind of a group, like a coalition of, big platform holders of which Nintendo was a part, where they would get together and talk about these things. But this Xbox seems to be the platform like we're actually doing something.
Yeah, they're really taking some good action here. I think that's important. And it's good to, know that they have this very organized, very thought out thing for someone to get banned, honestly. It's like, when you think about it, no one takes you seriously until you have a process like this,
Yeah.
And then there's oh yeah, you're not going to do anything to me. I'm just going to continue being a creep and a jerk. But having something that's very front and center, I think helps to just that adds to people being on better behavior, I think.
Yeah, and it's really in their interest to get this sorted out because, everybody wants to play online, but if it's I don't want to go to the hassle because I'm going to get screamed at or called a gross name or somebody's going to send me a dirty message afterwards, I'm just not going to do it. That's bad for Xbox.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think there's big chunks of the community that just don't think I'm just not going to deal. I'm not going to deal with
I was so scared when I played Halo recently. Not recently,
Oh.
but remember that?
Were we doing just public voice chat in that?
We weren't. We did not. But even without it, people were doing weird things. I didn't really like it.
Weirdos, knock it off.
Stop
That's
it!
the
It doesn't
takeaway
make
there.
it fun for people.
I did see
Please.
that. So it's not 3 strikes are out.
Yeah, there's
I saw
a
this thing,
stacking.
I think it's 8 strikes is what will eventually get you in deep doo-doo. But
Yeah, 2 of 8 strikes.
there are different things that will get you more than 1 strike in one go.
Right.
So-
User reported for a message will get you 4 out of 8 strikes.
Wow. Yeah.
Moderator reviews and categorizes as hate speech. Will get you 4
Yeah.
out
And
of
if
half your strikes.
This is one of those things where it's if you're worried about this, you should maybe look in the mirror and be well, what am I doing that's making me worried about this?
Don't do that, you guys.
This is not an issue if you're
Nice.
just, going on to play a game without, again, being a creep, weirdo, or a jerk. Don't be either of those things.
Don't be those things.
Lastly, back to Mario. I don't know if it's happened at the time of this recording or at the
happened, I
time
think.
that this podcast comes out. The Barbie movie will have surpassed the Mario movie in terms of global box office. The Mario movie kind of ended up at about 1.35 billion
Worldwide.
and Barbie's about to sail right by that.
Barbie. The power of Barbie. More powerful than Mario, apparently. Well, here's why. Live action versus animation, I think.
You think that's the reason?
I think so.
Okay.
People do not take animated movies as seriously. That's just a stigma, which is unfortunate because I think the
Yeah.
animated movies should be taken very seriously. But it's always that, stigma that's oh, this is just a throwaway film for kids or
Yeah,
something.
it's dumb stuff for kids.
Dumb stuff for kids.
Yeah.
Hey, kids are people too, okay? But Barbie, I think, yes, that you have, a lot more cachet, I guess, with the live actors. And, the storyline is very much not for kids, even though it's a movie about Barbie.
Of Barbie.
Yeah.
I still haven't seen it, so I don't know.
Right. No, the storyline is
What is it rated? Is it PG-13 or
Oh,
PG?
that's a good point.
Let's
I
look.
actually don't know. I don't think it's G. It's got to be PG-13.
What's that, MPAA? Is that what they call it? PG-13.
I was going
Wow.
to say PG-13, yeah.
Interesting. Why is Barbie rated PG-13? Brief
Brief
language
and suggestive references.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
yeah.
Wow.
I don't think there's a lot of... Yeah, there's really no cursing or anything in the Barbie movie. But the themes and the things that are talked about, the storyline is very Not for kids, I would say.
What I'm interested in, and again, I didn't see Barbie, is that movie felt like a real, like, countrywide phenomenon.
Cultural
In
phenomenon.
a way that Mario didn't. And yet they made about the same amount of money. We're equally successful. I mean, certainly in gaming circles, it was huge. And a big thing. People were going again and again.
Right.
But Barbie was like, oh no, there go all the people dressed in pink going to see Barbie.
Hey, that was me.
That got people talking outside of normal circles.
I have never seen a movie phenomenon. I did not live to see like the Star Wars movie phenomenon. Like I was
from 3 years ago. Your favorite movie, Rise of Skywalker?
No, like what was the last movie that had this kind of phenomenon when you walked into a theater and everybody was dressed in pink?
I went to the Star Wars prequel. I went to that first one, like opening like a midnight showing of that. That was a scene. But yeah, it's few and far between for this to happen.
Right. Yeah, I'm curious about that. You know what? Another thing, I bet the Barbie movie was way more expensive to make than the Mario movie. Don't you think?
I don't know.
I would think that
making an animation.
Yeah, you got to pay all these people. Ryan Reynolds ain't cheap.
Gosling,
whatever. They look the same.
Is Ryan Reynolds in that too?
No.
You get all the Ryans. One movie gets all the Chris's. We need the Chris's versus the Ryans.
Oh, they can fight.
They can fight it out.
Yeah.
Not in the face though. They need those.
Or the bodies.
Stay away from the face.
Maybe just kick each other in the feet.
Insults. Hurl insults at one another. Yes. The emotions, who cares? Take this.
Oh, batter the emotions, save the bodies in the face.
There we go.
Okay, great. Well, that was weird.
Yeah. It is. I mean, these are two also like, again, quote, kiddie licensed properties.
Yeah.
And again, people feel different ways of like, is this ruining Hollywood? Or, you love it.
I love it.
Again, I think as long as these are well done and honor the source material, I think it's great.
Both movies did that.
Clearly, both of these
I believe that both movies truly honor the source material, and I think that's why they're successful.
I saw this story and I was like, how much money did my beloved Ninja Turtles movie make? And I went to check. I'm wearing the shirt today. I went to check. It ain't that much. I think it's fine for what it was, but it's not getting into this territory.
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah. I wonder how much movie the animated Spider-Man movie made.
Oh, I think that made a lot too.
More than Mario?
No. I mean, we would be talking about it if it made more than Mario. Mario was the number one of all movies for the year. Wow. So Mario will probably be number 2.
What a world we live in.
Yeah.
Anyways.
All right, time for questions from our Patreon community. We get all the questions from this podcast in our bonus Q&A, which is a Patreon exclusive from our Patreon community. First question's from Rain Tech. Hi, Kit and Krysta. Currently, you can see several AAA devs complaining that, quote, people should not expect Baldur's Gate 3 quality for future releases, and they call it, quote, an anomaly. See, for example, IGN's coverage. Did you watch this video?
I did.
I did too. To me, as a regular consumer, this is raising all kinds of red flags about future releases if the developers flat out say, hey, don't expect us to deliver this level of quality. What is your opinion on developers getting mad for another developer raising the bar for quality, and do you see this being one of the reasons why some AAA devs will not put games on Nintendo hardware? Are they in general afraid of competition with Nintendo and other devs?
Yeah, this is a really interesting question. I was surprised to see sort of this, I think the media kind of blew it out of proportion, calling it like a developer panic, but there's definitely like a lot of conversation around expectations for these big games.
Yeah, it seemed to be the same kind of small handful of tweets from developers that were getting pointed at of like, oh, they're panicking now.
Yeah. It wasn't like as widespread as maybe it was made out to be. This also goes back to this conversation that we've been having week after week about these, quote, AAA games and like what that means from a development side, because it just balloons so much in terms of what you need to do to make a game like this and ensure that it is, quote unquote, perfect or whatever at release. Like it's almost like impossible to do that, right? So I can see that that is just a lot of pressure. When the scope of games get bigger and bigger, people expect perfection to not decrease, even though the scope gets so much bigger, and you as a developer is expected to deliver this. That's a tough road to walk. At Nintendo, though, I think we were really spoiled because we had never really had big problems with things not working. The games were pretty perfect. So from that perspective, it's a little bit like, I don't think people are scared to put games on Nintendo hardware because of that reason, but I do think that developers understand that Nintendo has a high bar of expectation for your game to be near perfect, when it launches on a Nintendo platform. So again, that just adds to the pressure for these poor devs that are trying to make these big games because that's what they think that everybody wants. But I don't know.
Yeah, we would sometimes hear like, well, Nintendo players only want Nintendo games. It's like, well, they're pretty good games, so maybe that's one of the big reasons. I have two thoughts on this. It's good to always like call an outlier. Like clearly Baldur's Gate has done something really special.
Right.
That is, yes, it's going to be hard for other developers to replicate. Maybe don't try and replicate this like magic in a bottle. It's like the same thing.
Yeah, it's like the Animal Crossing phenomenon.
Tears of the Kingdom, or like, maybe once a year or every other, you get a game like this where it's like, whoa.
Oh, that came out of nowhere.
This is amazing. And this is a new, watershed moment for the industry. And, just recognize that not every game is going to be that.
Exactly.
The other thing is, no developer wants to put out a game that's subpar or rushed or has a million patches. And there are just business realities to making a game that often are out of the developer's hand. There's some guy saying, hey, you got to get this game out by X.
By this date.
Or like, our research indicates that this game needs to indicate X feature, include X feature. People are going to want that. Some of these studios are very driven by research like that, and the dev team has to take the orders from the marketing team or some other insight that they think they have. So that's a very complex situation, and that may be leading to why some of these developers feel uneasy, where it's like they're going to get the email from their boss saying, make this.
Yeah. Do it perfect.
Do this.
Yeah. By this date.
So, I think this is, these are all leading to some of those problems we've been having with, every game being a 100-hour RPG that feels unsustainable. So there's a lot to this.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully we are hoping for some rebalancing soon.
Yeah. Brewstash is next.
Oh, Brewstash.
Hey, Kit and Krysta, in preparation towards a potential, nothing announced, Nintendo Direct this fall.
Here we go again, people.
Pikmin Sneezekov and I once again asked the community to submit one fun prediction or hope for what they would want to see from it. Some of these were carried over from the previous summer bingo card. We collected 24 member responses from the community in order to form another Kit and Krysta community bingo board. What are your thoughts on our predictions? Which tiles do you think could be possible?
This is what the Kit and Krysta community are up to. They make beautiful bingo graphics, and they're like up to their own devices, and I absolutely love it. There's a lot of stuff here, guys. Oh.
So why don't maybe pick 3 that you think are potential
guesses?
Real things. You're not locking yourself into anything here, just at first glance. I'm like, okay.
Okay.
Because I remember when I saw the bingo board for the last Direct,
I was like,
there was a lot of real lofty aspirations.
No. Yeah.
F-Zero won't be shown. Well, there's one. There you go.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, won't be shown. Yeah. I think Metroid Prime 2 HD Remix, or HD Remastered from Paul Gale Network is a potential. We've been hearing about that. Tears of the Kingdom DLC, yes. Kayaks. F-Zero won't be shown. I think that's very likely.
Yeah, I think a lot of these are pretty reasonable. I think that there's actually more of these than you might think that I think could happen.
I will continue to put good thoughts out there along with Totally Joed, Wind Waker and Twilight Princess Switch port.
Oh.
Just any day.
You're going down with that ship.
I'm going down with the ship. I am going down with... They have the game. Just put it out! What else?
But then some of these are extremely specific. SD Gundam Gashapon Wars Remake. Okay. Wow. But if that's what you want, that's what you think's going to happen.
Brewstash wants that Rhythm Heaven title so bad. So bad. He's been every Direct.
Yeah, now I'm looking at what are the ones that are more unlikely that I think. Yeah, I think these are all pretty...
They're okay.
They're all mostly pretty good. So we might get a bingo.
Oh, yeah.
Whenever the next one happens.
This one, the in-depth trailer of Splatoon 3 side order, yeah.
Yeah. Good job, everybody.
Oh, the voice acting one.
I'd like to know. I'd like to know more about this. Like, what do you mean by fully voice acted? Because it might have.
Because we had Samus, the voice actor, do a thing or two.
I mean, would you say Metroid Dread was fully voice acted? It had some voice acting. There's not a lot of talking in Metroid.
She made a primal scream.
She spoke in another language. Tell us more.
Okay.
Zero has the next question. Hello, Kit and Krysta. Back when you were both working at Nintendo, did the staff know about the Nintendo-doomed business that some people like to spout when Nintendo does badly? If so, how did they feel about it? And for that matter, how did you both feel about it? I always found it silly, but I'm wondering as of late, did Nintendo know about this phrase and also found it ridiculous too? Zero, not only did we know about it, that was coined from within Nintendo.
It did.
Right.
Yeah, it was coined from inside the walls of Nintendo. Maybe you.
Where do you think it came from?
We planted that term.
Yes.
I'm just kidding, we didn't.
So there, again, we speak about him often. Mr. Don James, longtime executive at Nintendo, that was kind of his go-to phrase whenever something was not looking great. Like,
He's been with the company for like 40 years.
Well, we're doomed.
So he lived through so many Nintendo-doomed moments that he just would spout it at every opportunity.
And I think he did it with a wink and a nod because he's seen it all.
That's what I'm saying.
But it was a good coping mechanism for him.
It was a good coping mechanism for him and all of us. We obviously lived through an era of Nintendo during the Wii U times and some other times. But yeah, it sort of became like a two-pronged thing where people would be in the Nintendo-doomed mindset and we would be like depressed and like a little bit scared. But then we'd get like some update from like the business people that are like, don't worry, there's a lot of money in the bank. We got a lot of cash. Don't worry. We got a lot of cash flow. And then we'd be like, okay, we got room to like, we have runway. We're okay. We're going to be okay.
Yeah.
We're going to be okay.
I think we found Nintendo to be very crafty in hard times and resourceful, so I never got that worried.
Yeah.
I mean, but there are a lot of people out there who really believe it.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, maybe they're new to this. That's sort of my take on it.
Yeah, yeah.
We
never had like big layoffs though at Nintendo or things like that.
Or any layoffs, really.
Well, at the very end. But yes. We never had like anything like the tech layoffs, like 30,000 people.
Right.
There wasn't even 30,000 people that worked there, but it was like
right.
like the entire thing is just like cut.
Didn't happen.
Yeah.
Damon Smith's next. Kit and Krysta, to fully appreciate Super Mario Wonder, do you think it would be best to play the new Super Mario Brothers games? I totally skipped the new series, but I feel like I should go back and play them to really appreciate Wonder. I want to feel how low the series had gotten, to feel what I hope will be a great high with Wonder. I just played New Super Mario Bros. 2 and will play New Super Mario Bros. If the U Deluxe game goes on sale before Wonder comes out, I'll pick it up. I have no way to play the Wii game. Thanks.
Oh, the Wii game's the best one. Oh.
I mean, I don't want to like overstate, like, these games are not bad by any means. They're just not as
imaginative.
Right.
Creative.
Yeah, as full of creativity and fresh ideas as some of the other games, especially as consider this was what we were doing for 10 years.
So that was my point, is that if you play these games sort of like dabble them like a little bit at a time, I don't think you get the full effect. Because what was the actual problem was that it was like year after year after year after year of the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And you saw that towards the end of that cycle, they were like really running out of ideas and they started to get real gimmicky, which is what we're talking about. So as you're playing them now, I think you might have a good experience because they're good games and you're just kind of like picking and choosing, So yeah, I don't think you not playing them will have an effect on your enjoyment of Mario Wonder. I think that game is going to be amazing, and all of us are going to absolutely love it. So, yeah, play these games, enjoy these games. They're good games, but I don't think that you'll have like a lesser, less fun with Mario Wonder.
Yeah, I don't think anybody needs to play any of these games before. Right. I think if you want to get a feel for the contrast, maybe pick one. Right. And play them, because again, I think if you played one, you've kind of got a feel.
That's the thing
for the others.
Yeah.
And it sounds like that's what you're already doing. So, but I would say maybe don't play so many Mario games that you're like, well, I'm tired of these now. Yeah. And then when Wonder comes out, you got nothing left. So no one to stop.
Don't get like Mario like
fatigue.
Yeah. Exactly.
Ninja 11 is next. Hi, Kit and Krysta. You often mention having to fight for your marketing ideas to happen, such as for your Sights and Sounds series and for the continuation of the Nintendo Power Podcast and Nintendo Minute. What is meant by the word fight? Is it as simple as an executive sends you a letter telling you to stop doing Nintendo Minute and you saying no thanks?
Whoa.
No, sir, I will not. Or is it a drawn-out email chain having to hold your ground against a higher-up? How do you go about recruiting someone like Reggie to your cause? How do you know when to take the L and give up the fight?
Oh, wow. Well, we actually just punch people right in the face.
It's literally a fight.
It's literally a fight.
Meet me on the rooftop.
Exactly. I'll see you in the back alley.
Last one standing
wins. Like, we want to talk about Fight Club, but it's Fight Club. No. It is sort of what you say in the second part of your question. It's a very drawn out, it can be just a drawn out discussion. And a lot of times the way that they sort of wear you down is every time you ask for approval on something, they pepper you with like 1,000 questions. And you just get so exhausted from answering the questions that eventually you just give up, which is what happened most of the time. But yeah, it is exactly like that. You basically have either a long discussion via email, or there's multiple late night meetings. You're asked to create just 5 million like presentations to prove why the thing that you're trying to fight for is valuable to the company. You are just like buried in like trying to get data and trying to like, you know, find ways to like make your argument compelling. And yeah, and if it's something that Reggie believes in and you've already had like a separate, 5,000 discussions with Reggie or anybody else on the NOA side to help you, that's another like level of coordination. And then you have to go back in to basically like prove your point, and it can get very exhausting.
Yeah. The part that wasn't great was a lot of times those were like bad faith conversations where you could have the greatest deck outlining why this is a great thing, and the response would be, yeah, but still, we don't like it.
We just don't like it.
And so it was like, well, this is impossible for me to win.
Right, right.
I liked, when Reggie would do this, he always had a good reason, and it was like, I want to see how committed and passionate you are about this idea, because sometimes it might have been a big investment or a big step for the company. I was like, I want to make sure that you're committed to this and it's not just some passing dalliance.
Fancy. Yeah.
So his was not about like, I'm just gonna bug you about this.
No, not at all.
And like
Ever.
bicker with you.
Yeah.
It was like, no, really show me all the angles that you are looking at.
And he would ask you like smart questions that would make you think through your idea even deeper.
Right.
And like make you like consider things that you might not have considered before. And that was like actually really helpful, and what you should be doing as like the leader of your company, versus it being, yeah, like you said, sort of bad faith where you're like, I know I'm going in to lose.
Right. Takeaway is always a CC kit.
CC Reggie is actually, Reggie was there for my big screw up. He was there.
Yeah.
He wasn't mad. It was okay. Yeah.
Something I was going to say about this and I just forgot.
Oh no.
Darn it.
You're tired. You're tired of the fight.
Well, maybe I'll remember.
Okay.
Pikmin Sneeze Cough is next. Hi, Kit and Krysta. I'd like to ask you, what is the most esoteric gaming feature you know of? Recently in our Kit and Krysta Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Community Tourney, that's a mouthful, many of us discovered the shared stock feature for the first time. A feature that allows a fallen teammate to recover by taking one stock from their teammate. Absent any in-game mentions of this, the feature remains esoteric. I'm curious to hear your examples and how you discovered them. Thanks. Honestly, any Sakurai game is going to have a lot of stuff like this.
Well,
he packs it with weird little things.
He's just things that he likes, like convenience things that he likes. I have a good one for this. The match the version feature on your Nintendo Switch. And I had an embarrassing moment, actually, that led to the discovery of this feature, which is we were at the airport on our way to Japan, and we were filming this vlog of us going to Japan. And I think it was that time we went for Nintendo Live, maybe. But we ran into the Mario Kart devs that were already in...
They were flying back from GDC.
They were at GDC. They were flying back to Japan. We were at the airport together. So we're like, oh, great. Why don't we sit down and play a quick game of Mario Kart together? And pulled out our games and everything. And my game was not the most recent update, which means I haven't been playing it for a while. Sorry. It was like in between patches. Anyways, so...
I'm duping here.
I'm busy duping. So Mr. Yabuki very deftly took my Switch and was like, took his Switch.
Because we're in the airport, we have no Wi-Fi.
There's no Wi-Fi, yeah. He took his Switch, took my Switch, and then he got to the menu screen where it says, match multiplayer mode, match your players, all players versions. And the game downloaded the patch.
Just like locally spit out the update.
Update. I was like, oh.
We didn't know about this feature before then.
And then we played Mario Kart. I was like, you are God.
Amazing.
That man is amazing, by the way. So yes, that's my favorite thing. And you can use that now.
Yeah.
If you ever are trying to play multiplayer with somebody, and you don't have Wi-Fi, and you don't have the same versions, use this. This is the menu.
Yeah, another one that comes to mind for me is, and we did a whole video on this, the LAN feature in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
A lot of Mario Kart things.
Why is this in this game? How many people are actually using this?
Right.
I don't know, but it's cool that you can. This question made me think of a lot of games that require a very specific piece of hardware that most people are not going to have, and I think of those dev teams and like, what were they thinking? Like, Steel Battalion is the most famous version of that, an Xbox game that came with like a giant mech controller.
Oh yeah,
strictly for this one game.
Right.
That has now become sort of a cult classic. But like, so I had games on the like Resident Evil Outbreak on the PS2. You had to have the hard drive and you had to have the network adapter. How many people actually had that? Or any of the games on the GameCube that required the network adapter?
We used to have a network adapter.
Did you ever see a network adapter in a store?
No.
I never did either.
It was like pre-Amazon too. You had to like find it.
Yeah, you had to like go through a store and actually find it.
Yeah.
People don't even know that
really
exists.
Tough.
So there's a lot of examples of that where like there's cool game experiences that are limited by some esoteric hardware that nobody has.
Yeah.
I remembered what I was going to say on the previous question.
You did?
I want to continue to flatter Reggie. So
Reggie's the best.
the thing that he would do was he is really guiding you toward your own conclusion of, yes, I'm committed to this idea and I'm going to do it, or you have helped me realize a new angle of this that I didn't fully understand.
Right.
And I'm going to be the one to say, we shouldn't do this. It was never him saying, yes, I approve it, move forward, or no, I don't approve it, you can't do it.
Right.
Because guess what? We were the head of these departments at Nintendo. We should have the autonomy to say, this is a good thing within my area of responsibility that I think we should do.
Yeah.
And to be able to move forward with that and not have somebody out of the blue who has no idea what this area is or what's involved in any of that. Be like, I don't like the sound of that on paper, don't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. He
had
faith. He had faith in the people who were supposed to literally do their jobs.
Well, you hire these people to do that particular job because they have expertise in that area.
You didn't have that.
Reggie doesn't have expertise in every single area. He's dependent on you to give him, your perspective on the things that you want to do. Now he is like extremely intelligent and smart and knows the business backwards and forwards, so he's going to ask you the right questions to make sure you're thinking about it in the right way. But he would never tell you like, oh, Krysta, I know how to do influencer stuff better than you.
Here's what I would do.
Don't do that. You should do this. And I don't approve of your idea.
Get some pictures of hot chicks.
Someone told me
That's
that.
what we need.
He never told me that. Just saying, no. Reggie never.
Hot girls with a Switch.
Never said.
Watch those units sail off the shelves.
Step 1, get a hot girl. Step 2, get a Switch. Step 3, massive sales. Marketing genius.
Last question is from Seafoam Gaming.
Oh.
Hello, Kit and Krysta. More of a question for Kit.
Oh.
But while I was going through stuff to sell for my move, I noticed my copy of Splatterhouse PS3 and decided to read the manual. Turns out you were given credit in special thanks. Looking it up, I found a Splatterhouse fan site known as the West Mansion, and one of the posts mentions you as a big help for that title. Seeing how it was a Namco game with a very rocky road to release, I'm curious if you have any memories of working on that title, interactions with the fan communities, and anything similar to that experience cropped up at Nintendo. Keep up the good work.
Wow, look at you. So famous.
Wow. So I left Namco kind of right as this game was getting close to coming out. So I didn't get to see it all the way to fruition. But at this time, Namco did have this big ambition of ramping up development outside of Japan. So there was a big game that they were actually developing in the same building that I was in, where they built a team for it. That was called Afro Samurai, based on the anime. That game ended up not being great. But there were other games also. So there was a Dead to Rights game that was being made that game also, none of these games were that great in the end. And they're probably doing less of this development as a result.
Oh no.
But Splatterhouse was another one, and Splatterhouse is a really great IP to just pick up. It's sort of like an action horror game. And it just so happened, so I was working on the game, but the producers on the game were sitting like across, like I had a cube and they had a cube like across from me. So I would just kind of hang out with those guys.
Buddies.
And I think that team was a little green, so they were just looking for guidance with everything. So like they would sort of come to me very open, be like, when should we announce the game? What should we do? What should we do here? I was like, obviously, I'm not answering any questions about game development. I don't know, but I think they were, justifiably thinking about the marketing side of things and wanted, somebody to talk to. So I was glad to do that for them. This game had a very troubled development though, where they started with one developer, which was called Bottle Rocket, who worked on these games for the PS2 called the Mark of Cree, which were good games, but they just could not get the game right in this case. And I don't know exactly why, but there was a very messy breakup where they had to move, so they had to finish the game with the internal Afro Samurai team. And that all happened after I had left, but it was very, very dramatic, very bad. Glad I wasn't there for that. Nice. But the game came out. It's not perfect. I think it's an interesting game. I think there's a lot of really interesting visuals in that game. Like some of the art team that worked on that are really, really talented. And we had a lot of good stuff to work with when we were pitching to media. Like, look at this.
Yeah.
Like this really like grisly, gruesome, nasty,
like all the artwork,
horror-themed artwork was super good to work with. So I say I have a lot of affinity working on that. Good memories working on that, even though it was. In the end, not that great.
Did we go to famously a metal?
We went to that was when the game was coming out. At PAX, they had like a hardcore metal concert.
It was fun
at one of the venues in Seattle, and I was reunited with those guys.
It was fun. It was fun. Yeah, I remember this. Yeah, I remember. You're like, do you want to go to a metal concert for Splatterhouse? And I was like, what now? But okay, but I'm in.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
In the credits. Wow.
All right, that is it for the questions this week. It's time to shout out some great Patreon folks.
Yes, our superstars. Let's go.
All right.
Aaron Hash.
Ben Eichhorn.
Maru Mayhem.
Eigenverse.
Kiss My Flapjack.
Mike Chin.
Mr. Rogers.
Roy Eschke.
Switching It Up _
Zaphazon.
The Shark Among Men.
VGM Life.
Link, the hero of Winds.
Angela Bycroft.
Molly.
Underpig Molly.
Turbocharge Nerd.
Thomas O'Rourke.
Kyle LaBeouf.
Christopher Lara.
Simon.
Frederick Ulf Conradson.
Andrew Uhas.
And Chili.
Woohoo! Oh, I can't believe you almost forgot Molly. How dare you.
What beyond Molly? Maybe there are other.
There's more. There's
Animals,
a cow.
Creatures.
I believe there's a cow.
Friends.
A very cute cow.
That we should mention as well.
I don't know
so we
the
might
name.
need the full rundown. That might be a whole other
we'll have
section after this.
We need to ask Angela then to provide.
Molly's Menagerie.
She gets her own theme song?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Moving on to our beautiful One Up Club graduation service. Here we go. A. Ron Burgundy.
Adam and Ansley.
Ali Alejandro.
Alexandra Pratt.
Astro Dev.
Bad Moon Horizon.
Ben. GB.
Bookem Dano.
Brad. SF56.
Brooke Obscura.
Brookie Kazooie.
Bruce Stash.
Shelly Squirrel.
Christopher Lay.
Captain Alex.
Crim Cat.
C. Roper 17.
Daniel Cole.
Dachshund.
Dolce.
Dino Punch.
Ellie Peach.
S. Barts 50.
Fart Priest 69.
Furbound.
Fernie and Just Forever.
Fox Deploy.
Fred Rossi.
Garrett Holfish.
Garth the Wolf.
Gartooth.
G Sun 101.
Heroic.
Ian Shea.
Iris Marin.
Jay Rando.
Jabroni Jones.
Jeffrey Hernandez.
Jerry 92602.
Jesse Hernandez.
John Responte.
Jonathan Rowe.
Jordan Collette.
Jordan Hemmerly.
Joseph DeHaze.
Joshua Clements.
Juji Fruit.
Just Camtro.
Justin Lemminger.
Cairo Trigger.
Kawa 2796.
Keith Kwan.
Kelp Shake.
Kevin Delane.
Kilo Kibo.
Krisu.
Christopia Party With Me.
Kyle Gamer Barry Rookie.
Kyle Kretzer.
Kyler Nelson.
Linnell Stickman.
Lennis Sullivan.
Lit.
Luminous.
Mad Dog 5981.
Magnificent Easy G and Callie Murray.
Marky Man 64.
Mecha Dragon 101.
Megan.
Michael Cravens.
Mikey.
Motomania.
Mr. Andy Pond.
Mr. Beans and Dip.
MSN Pocket Gamer.
My Tran.
Nasir.
Nathan Burkhart.
Nick E.
Ninja 11.
Panda Buns.
Pangy.
Paul C. Pace.
Paul Gale Network.
Prime Factor.
Prince Charmless.
Raver.
Rain Tech.
Renee Rivers.
Riot 1.
RJ Kern.
Rob Osborne.
Rocks.
Rianetta.
Sam Newland.
Cypher A.
Sharif Jackson.
Shinryu.
Slowbro.
Silly Ferret.
SG Sharky 777.
Snozzle.
Dang it,
Wow, I got to
both.
do both. I'm so
Spicy
happy.
Munchkin.
Steel Citroen.
Man, Tales of Link.
Kara Storm.
Thomas Alvarez.
Three Rivers.
Topher Schmofer.
Travis Torline.
Tugs Puppy Bear.
Tusku.
Tyler Geis.
Vesves.
Video Game Stupid.
Viridian.
Virtual Bot.
Weeb Kingdom.
Wicked Davy.
Will Johnson.
Zoodiverse.
Zelgarot.
Zapanty.
And Zroid. Wow, I got to do
you
both.
You gotta go buy a lottery
Snozzle
ticket.
and Pangy?
You gotta buy a lottery
What
ticket.
a lucky
you
day
got
this
lucky.
is.
You got lucky.
Yes.
Schnozzle. Okay. If you want us to read your name in a funny way, please join us on patreon.com/Kit and Krysta.
If you're watching this on video, you can go ahead and subscribe to this YouTube channel, give this video a thumbs up, and leave us a comment. If you are listening on audio, you can also subscribe, give us a 5-star rating, and also leave a written review.
And the socials, we are still on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, and Threads.
Nice.
That's it. All right. We're going to go now.
Bye.
Bye.